Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday shortlist for WhatAcca.com. He said off air, he's going to nail the intro first time. We're just going to sail on through after my miserable failures last week. Although we do need to talk about how you're the birthday girl in the background there. Welcome, Matthew Glazier.
Yeah, thank you very much, Benjamin. Was my daughter's 12th birthday yesterday, but as
12.
As is the way with 12-year-olds, they don't just have a birthday; they then have family, friends over on Saturday. Actually, me and my son we're going to Northampton Tranmere. We've been exiled. So we'll be at Sixfield Stadium while she's dancing to a silent disco with her friends. But yes, that's the reason for the balloons.
Did you personally sing any Disney music at all yesterday? If the answer's no, I'll be very disappointed.
Well, I sing "We Don't Talk About Bruno" every day. Really,
Yes.
It's my go-to song. What a song that is! I don't think there's a better one. Disney otherwise.
The phenomenon that is Disney. We're talking about children when we should be talking about football tips. But my 6-month-old girl is already very much into this. Anyway, we're catching up because we haven't chatted for a week. But what we do here on this podcast is we chat once a week prior to Saturday's games, and we give you our views. And whilst we're formulating the final items that are going to go on the shortlist and on the newsletter over at WhatAcca.com. Matthew, just sum up the 3 types of pick that people can get and when they can get them if they do sign up for free with their email address over at WhatAcca.com.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a daily accumulator, Benjamin, on WhatAcca.com. There's one today. But as far as Saturday is concerned, obviously a huge day for football. We'll have a win treble, which we'll discuss today. We'll have a both teams to score treble, which we'll discuss today. And we'll also have a big money accumulator. And I think we're going to go down the both teams to score route for Saturday's Acca, just simply because it stays in the game for a lot longer as well. Both teams to score can always be a run or even 0-0 with 10 minutes left, for example. So those are the 3 bets to look out for. They'll be going on the site later on today. They'll be sent out by email to all our subscribers tomorrow for free. So make sure you signed up on that list and you'll receive them.
Yeah, so check it out, WhatAcca.com, and we will be following all of this business on the Saturday Super Stream here on the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel from about 2:30 each Saturday. Right, let's get into where are we starting? Let me scroll up
WhatAcca
screen over here. The WhatAcca first. And I'm seeing we're starting reasonably low down here, Matthew. I'll get your thinking behind that. But what's on the shortlist for the WhatAcca?
Yeah, I've swerved the championship for the WhatAcca. I couldn't see anything on the coupon that's really
well, you're smart because I've just done some written work on it. We've got 1st v 4th, 6th v 8th, and 7th v 9th, as well as I think 22nd versus 20. There's a lot of direct rivals playing each other, so that wouldn't move across well to a WhatAcca. I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, I've got some on the both teams to score. Okay, so on your Saturday Super Stream last Saturday, I correctly predicted that Wigan-Sunderland would feature the first goal of the day for the Saturday 3 p.m. And I wish you could bet on that. It would have been great odds. But anyway, I digress. I am going for Sunderland to win at Charlton at the Valley this Saturday for some really obvious reasons, I suppose, insofar as that Sunderland played really well at Wigan last weekend. They stopped Wigan from playing
well.
Yes, surprisingly well. I think Alex Neil needed a few games to get his feet under the table, but they stopped Wigan playing. They forced the Latics to play long balls, and they're not a long ball team. Ross Stewart's now scored 4 goals in 3 games. I know some of those have been penalties. Interestingly, Neil switched to a 4-2-3-1 formation at Wigan.
Oh, he loves it, doesn't he? Yeah.
Dividends. And Charlton, what can you say? I mean, the slump has continued. They've had 5 straight defeats now. They've not scored a goal in 350 minutes of football. They had 0 shots on target against Oxford recently. Only 1 shot on target at Hillsborough. They look very opposable at the moment. And Sunderland, early doors, I know with the Neil sort of revival, if you like, but yeah, I think they look like a solid accumulator pick here. What do you reckon?
Can I do a direct comparison after you've talked about the next one? Because I'm very interested. Because you've gone straight in with 2 away wins, which I think you're giddy on birthday cake this week, Matthew, aren't you?
I haven't had any of it yet, but okay. So the second pick now. I'll say this now. I prefer this one to the Sunderland pick, and it
interesting. Okay,
and it is Sheffield Wednesday, the absolute sort of juggernauts that is Sheffield Wednesday, the Owls, they're flying and they're away to Lincoln, who are not flying on Saturday. Why try and mend a bike that isn't broken? Sheffield Wednesday have been in lots of our recent accumulators, some of them winning ones. They've won 7 of the last 8 matches. They've scored 10 goals in the last 3 games. Barry Bannon is a man on fire. They've won the past 2 away matches at Burton and Donny. As for Lincoln, they've already lost 10 of their 18 games at home this season, so they've lost to much worse teams than Sheffield Wednesday this season. They're off the back of 3 straight defeats. They've had 2 home defeats against Donny and Gillingham recently. Again, worse teams than Sheffield Wednesday. All of this amounts to an away win as far as I can see, and the price is very attractive. What do you say about Wednesday, and what do you say about Sunderland?
Yeah, I'm glad you said what you said as you led off, that perhaps you're higher on Sheffield Wednesday than you are on Sunderland. I like Wednesday a lot for a lot of the reasons you said, and I think we said it on the show last week. They're the one where everyone's saying, "Oh, who's your momentum runner in the League One playoffs?" Is possibly Sheffield Wednesday. Sunderland, there's just always that thing, isn't there? They're not trustworthy, but then when they do get going, you do think, "Oh, okay, here we go again with the Sunderland promotion push." My only concern is it's actually about Charlton more than about the actual the pick. Is that we've seen Charlton have a dreadful run under Nigel Adkins, a brilliant run under Johnny Jackson, now a dreadful run under Johnny Jackson as well. You just don't know when a winning run's going to come around the corner. So I know it's a 5-game losing streak at the moment for Charlton, but yeah, I think backing against Lincoln at the moment seems more smart than backing against Charlton, regardless of the opponents. Just come in on your third, because there's a third League One pick into the bargain here, and we can kind of wrap up League One with a buzz.
Well, actually, there's 2 more League One picks, Benjamin, but I'll dive in.
I see.
I'll dive in with this next one, and this is Oxford United against Burton Albion. Oxford are not always the most reliable team, I admit that, as far as WhatAccas are concerned. They've won 11 of their 18 games at the Casamba season. They had won 3 on the bounce before that 3-2 defeat at Portsmouth during the week, and it was a highly entertaining game by all accounts. They have scored 12 goals in their past 5 matches, including a 4-0 win at Charlton and a 4-2 win at Cambridge. We know Oxford are full of goals. Cameron Brannigan has 8 goals in the past 9 matches. Admittedly, 4 of those, I think, were at Gillingham. Burton have lost 10 of their 18 away games. They've lost 3 of their past 4 matches. They were hammered at Hillsborough, had a heavy defeat. Must have taken some legs out of them that game as well, really, being given the runaround by the mighty Owls as well. So, I thought Oxford, the home team, I thought were a decent shout for this game.
Yeah, I like it, actually. And on the Saturday Super Stream, Cameron Brannigan has been, for the past 2 weeks, on our Mount Rushmore after banging in 4. You mentioned the 4 goals, all from the penalty spot at Gillingham. What performance that was. Yeah, I like this. And I don't know how you feel. Do you have the air of Burton that they were kind of punching and they're just fizzling out a little bit now as the season ticks down?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they sold Kane Hemmings to Tranmere, to be honest, because he was doing quite well for them, but they're still delivering goals. But I just think defensively they can be got at Burton, really, as they showed against Wednesday. I think they got back level in that game at Hillsborough, and then sort of Wednesday went into another gear. And I think Oxford have probably got similar gears to Wednesday. It wouldn't completely surprise me. I'm going to say this now. If we saw another 5-2, I mean, why not? I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, you mentioned about Oxford and reliability. That's very different at home than it is away, isn't it? Whenever we're doing the Super Stream, there tends to be lots of goals, and most of them going for Oxford when they're playing at home. So I'm actually in my head, and we'll come on to this and round up, but Sunderland are actually moving down the pecking order a little bit for me now after you've called out the last 2. What you got next, Matthew?
I'm going to play up Pompey for my 4th League One pick. They let us down last week, despite showing tremendous character to get back to 3-3 v Fleetwood at the end. Yes. They recovered from a goal down to beat Oxford on Tuesday. I really like the character within this team. Danny Cowley was thrilled on Tuesday night as they beat Oxford 3-2. George Hurst was described as borderline unplayable by his manager. Pompey have now won 4 of their previous 5 matches. Conversely, Accrington have lost 10 of their 16 away games in League One. John Coleman's side are really Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to home and away form in League One this season, and they've lost their last 4 on the road. I'm not perturbed too much by the fact that Pompey let us down last week, because I just feel as though they've got the bit between their teeth. They've got a few injury worries, Portsmouth, but I just think that long trip for Accrington won't reap anything at Fratton Park, which is bouncing at the right time of the season. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it, to be honest. But I always, Accrington particularly, is, it sounds like a bit of a cliche, but they are very, very much really hard to play at their own stadium, aren't they? And they always build out. And then if you throw in the odd away win, they can be a top 10 side. But you're right, it is a bit Jekyll and Hyde. Speaking of Jekyll and Hyde, though, if Pompey is streaky, then this mightn't be a bad one, because, like you said, they're on a run of 13 points in 5 games. Whether, like my lot, Ipswich, they're a little bit too far back in terms of a viable chase. And it's difficult for teams, Matthew, towards the end of the season that are in that second quartile but a long way off. That motivation can wane. So perhaps the Pompey, in terms of a pick, are going to be at their peak over the next few weeks if they can keep within distance. I'm very interested to see how you weigh up Pompey. Well, actually, do it for me. All these four Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford, Pompey. How would you order them in terms of preference?
Yeah, well, I've just been writing numbers down now, actually, and Sunderland have gone down to number 4, just simply because we don't really have enough win data for Sunderland to really sort of establish a lot of confidence. And also, like you say, Charlton's losing run will eventually come to an end. Like a winning run comes to an end. It just does. That's just how things work in football. I'm going to say the order at the moment, as it stands, is Sheffield Wednesday, banker, Portsmouth second, Oxford third, Sunderland fourth. That's how I'd have it. But I'd have Oxford and Portsmouth quite close. I think Portsmouth's price is bigger than Oxford's, and that would be my basis for selecting Pompey over Oxford.
Yeah, interesting. Why don't you chuck in your League Two picks, and we'll make a final call. I'll give my normal apologies. I always bow to Matthew's superior knowledge as a boffin of League Two and a Tranmere fan, and obviously on the Super Stream we're very much top 3 tiers. But I will give my opinion as always.
Okay, this is a completely wild pick. By including this pick in the treble, it would absolutely ramp the odds up to something crazy, because But I do really fancy this team to win their away game, and that team is Walsall. Now, Walsall have won their past 3 of their past 5 games since sacking Matt Taylor. One of them was against Tranmere, where they had a caretaker manager in charge. Since then, Mike Flynn has made an instant impact at the Bestcott. The Saddlers won away to first place Forest Green Rovers. They drew midweek away to second place Northampton Town, gifted them a goal right at the beginning. Connor Wilkinson and George Miller, 2 bulking centre forwards, have been among the goals, and Barrow are staring relegation in the face. They've only recorded 3 wins at Holker Street all season. They played an hour against Bristol Rovers with 10 men during the week. They've had no goal in the past 3 matches. Like I say, maybe this isn't the place for them, and you could back Walsall as a single bet and still have a great return on your bet. But I just really fancy Walsall, especially at the prices.
I mean, you've just got me interested in it now, haven't you? So I think we're in no smoke without fire, and I do like the idea. And what we might be able to do then with the final pick is maybe go in on some tight favourites, as well as throwing this one in terms of balancing out the risk across the ACCA. So I quite like it, just for your pure enthusiasm with it. And there is a place for a hunch on this podcast, isn't it? It doesn't all have to be data led, does it?
No, not always. I mean, football isn't to do with stats, or otherwise your team, Ipswich Town, would have won a lot more games recently, as we both know. Thank you. So we move on to final pick on the WhatAcca, which is Crawley to beat Scunthorpe United. I don't like to kick anybody when they're down, but Scunthorpe United are practically down. I mean, they are almost certain to be playing National League football next season. Crawley are a bit like the Oxford of League Two insofar as that they're very unpredictable. They can be brilliant on their day. They beat Forest Green last weekend. Should have beaten Oldham on Tuesday, but that's a should rather than they did. They did score 2 goals in each of these games. Ashley Nadesan has found form with 3 goals in 2 games. Obviously, Scunny, a National League side in waiting. Keith Hill just hasn't been able to get the tune out of the iron, and I think he's probably already planning for next season in the 5th tier. A 4-1 defeat at Sutton suggests that the Iron have somewhat given up the ghost. They conceded more than 2 goals on average on the road this season. They've suffered 5 consecutive away defeats. It just looks like a straightforward home win to me, Benjamin.
Yeah, and I think we're back in against mode rather than back in for. I'm just having a look. Crawley aren't that magnificent, are they? But if Scunthorpe are as poor as we're suggesting, then perhaps there will be value in this. And obviously, bottom of the entire 92 there. Shall we summarise on those? How many picks we got there? 1, 2, 3. We've got 6 there. What are your final thoughts then on the? So this is the WhatAcca, and we're looking for
it's
3.
The WhatAcca. It's the WhatAcca. I think Sheffield Wednesday are an absolute lock here, aren't they? I think we're both quite sold on the idea of Wednesday just getting a win away to Lincoln, even though they are the away team. I think realistically, I think that it's a question of whether we go for a League One ACCA or not. Really, we could do Sheffield Wednesday, Pompey, and Oxford. I think
I like Oxford, Matthew.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like Portsmouth. So I think we could disregard Walsall on the basis that you can back them as a single. And I might
it was fun though.
And also, I might put them in the big money ACCA as well, just to
boost,
sort of bump up the odds, because you can get a hell of a payout if you just include them with a few other picks as well. So possibly they're a big money ACCA potential. And then it's just a question of whether we disregard Portsmouth or Oxford for Crawley and bring Crawley in place. I'm not necessarily too sold on Crawley. I think they're probably the best banker material of League Two, but like you say, it is a more of a bet against mode really than being too positive as well. And Scunny have essentially got nothing to lose from these sort of games now, have they? They've got to go for wins, and they've got to kind of throw something in the wind, throw caution to the wind.
Well, we're going to get to this point in 3 or 4 weeks' time now, aren't we? Where teams with nothing to play for actually start to upset a lot of ACCAs, don't they? Because they play with freedom and get some strange results as the season ticks down. We will give you the final call on that. That will be in the WhatAcca newsletter tomorrow. I think we're hinting towards a League One treble, possibly. Check. Go and get signed up, and it will be on WhatAcca.com tomorrow. Should we talk some both teams to score then, Matthew?
Yeah, the shortlist was not the right shortlist last week. With the shortlist was good. It's just that the ones that we rejected were the ones that all came in.
I'm feeling responsible for this.
No. I made the final call. I'll stand by that as well. No, scapegoat away, Benjamin. That's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
I put the horrible element of doubt in your head, though, didn't I?
No, well, these things need to be discussed as well. You're a good sounding board. Well, you're an average sounding board. Okay, so SK, right. Both teams to score. Right, we've got 3 championship games. We're going to go into your favourite territory, the championship here. So these are my 3 best championship games for both teams to score. Number 1, Bristol City against Birmingham. Okay, our good old friends Bristol City, they seem to appear every week. Before their 2-0 defeat at Forest, it was 13 games BTTS, for Bristol City. Since losing to Bournemouth on the 16th of October, Bristol City have scored in every game at Ashton Gate. They've not kept a clean sheet since beating Derby on the 4th of December. Birmingham have scored in their past 6 away games. 10 out of the last 12 Birmingham matches have been BTTS. Yes, it seems like a lock. What do you reckon?
I like it. They let us down last week. We thought Bristol City was scoring at Forest, and Forest shut them out. We think Birmingham are going from no defenders last week to 1 defender this week. So for me, it seems more about can Bacuna Hernandez up top for Birmingham. They brought Jukovic back in, who's been a nuisance for a lot of years. Can they get on the score sheet? I think I like this one. And looking at the next 2 championship picks, I've got more reasons to like this one than I think the next 2. So I think I'm on board with you on our old friends Bristol City.
Yeah. Let's stick with City. Okay, Reading versus Millwall. Reading's last 3 matches have been very open. We know what Reading are like, sort of with the ball and without the ball. They had a 3-2 win at Preston. They had a 2-1 win against Birmingham. They had a 4-1 defeat at Blackpool in the last 3 games. They've had 17 shots on target against them in the past 2 games. Millwall, not always a great BTTS yes pick, I admit, this season. And then, Gary Rowett's got a slightly more pragmatic style about him. But they are bidding for their 5th win on the bounce. They've got some real confidence at the moment. And they're obviously focused on more wins to land that hallowed playoff spot. So that's my next pick. You're less confident on this one, though.
The worry is just the Millwall clean sheet, isn't it? That they are set up to stop. But then the mitigating factors to that is Swift and Zhao are playing well for Reading, and Reading is scoring. So one could cancel the other out, and hey, we'll probably be sitting here and Millwall haven't scored by the end of the weekend. But that's the worry when there's a team that's specific. I think they've got quite a good record at Reading as well, Millwall. I know that's kind of suspicion sometimes or superstition sometimes rather than anything more solid. But we'll come back to that one.
Okay. We go over to leafy Staffordshire for Stoke versus Blackpool. The last 5 Stoke matches have been BTTS. Yes, obviously took the lead at Bournemouth last weekend and suffered that sucker punch at the end. Potters have scored in their past 8 home matches. The last 7 Blackpool games have now been BTTS. Yes, they were on the shortlist last week and they didn't get in. They should have been. They did score 4 goals against Reading last weekend. They've scored in their past 13 matches in all competitions, the Tangerines. I did say that they have quite a few 1-1 scorelines, and this could easily be a 1-1, but that is good enough for a BTTS. Yes. What do you think of the chances here?
I think I prefer it to Reading and Millwall, possibly. The danger again is the Michael O'Neill clean sheet with it being at Stoke again. But like you said, Blackpool 4-4-2 wingers. Bowler, I think, has scored 5 in 7, and Medina's playing well, and Lavery's back fit now. It's just the case of a properly functioning Stoke should be able to shut out most teams. But of course, the big long injury to Suter has maybe weaken the Stoke defence. So I think if you got me to order those 3 championships, I'd have Bristol City, Birmingham as my favourite for a BTTS, then Stoke, Blackpool, and then Reading, Millwall. But obviously, my form is not good after last week.
No. It's fine. Look, they were on the shortlist in the first place. That's fine. We're going to drop down to League 2 for the other 3 picks. So none of the League 1 games stood out for me anyway. When I went through them, I was too busy looking for WhatAcca material. The next game is Colchester against Port Vale. Both teams to score yes has occurred now in the past 6 Colchester games. Colchester are not a particularly good team. They're probably one of the worst in League 2, and that's summed up by their league position. However, they are on a mission to try and stay in the league now. They had a feisty 2-2 draw against Leyton Orient, where they had 8 shots on target against a massively sinking ship that is Leyton Orient. They are in a scrap. They need to get on the front foot. Port Vale beat the same opponents 3-0 at Vale Park this season. We know Valiants have scored in 7 of the last 8 games. I mean, I kind of fancy Vale to probably maybe edge this one, but I think Colchester are definitely sort of picking up goals. They've almost changed their approach now to try and go out for wins because they know that draws will leave them sort of going down with the Scunthorpe as well. So that's my next pick.
It's a bit worrying when you say Colchester are not a very good team and they've got about 8 ex-Ipswich players from
I thought they were like it was just a feeder club, wasn't it? Or
it's ridiculous,
a feed down club.
It? Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, a lot of these boys haven't had to move house and can just go 20 miles further south down to Colchester. Let's do the League 2 as a package of 3. Tell me your next one.
All right, this is the one I like the best of all. It's Newport against Bristol Rovers. They're both promotion contenders. Newport are crazy at home in terms of goals. They've scored 35 in 17 home games, which makes them the biggest scorers of goals at home. Their 2 informed teams clash at Rodney Parade. Newport beat Tranmere 4-2 last Saturday, wiped the floor with us by all accounts, and then they drew 1-1 with Forest Green during the week. Could have scored more goals. Joey Barton's team have scored in the past 5 matches. They scored in their past 7 away games. Both teams are going to be looking for 3 points here. The League 2 promotion picture is intriguing. There are so many teams involved in the mix, and obviously the teams at the top, including Tranmere, have been wobbling a lot recently. So these 2 teams will still have eyes on automatic. They'll both be going for goals, and I like the idea of both of them scoring in this game.
Famous last words, but it feels like a bit of a home run, that one, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can put them with Bristol City and Birmingham, and then potentially just look for one of the other ones to add to the treble there. I think it looks decent. Okay,
Sure.
last pick is at Boundary Park. Big relegation tussle at Boundary Park. Oldham, you wouldn't necessarily have included in both teams to score, yes, but there is a resurrection taking place in Lancashire, in windy Lancashire. The Latics have scored in their past 6 matches under John Sheridan, who is going back there and is seemingly turning around what was a sinking ship. 4 of the 5 past games involving Oldham have seen both teams to score. Yes, Carlisle also have a new manager at the helm, Paul Simpson, and they're now bidding to win their 3rd game in a row. They've scored in 5 of the previous 6 games, and both teams will look upon this game as a winnable one. The Oldham games have just really opened up in recent weeks as well. They had that 2-2 draw against Crawley Town during the week. So, we quite fancy the idea of this being another open game.
It's weird, isn't it? Two bottom 6 teams, both in form, but it does smell of goals, and it almost feels like there might be more. I don't know how you feel. I don't want to put it in the back of your head, but it feels like there might be more value in League Two than Championship. What are your thoughts then in getting these down to 3?
Okay, well, I think Newport Bristol Rovers I really like. You liked Bristol City versus Birmingham out of the Championship picks as well. Colchester Port Vale, I don't know. I sort of like, part of me likes the idea of both teams to score. Part of me just thinks Port Vale will be too good for Colchester and maybe just break them down a bit too much. And Oldham Carlisle's one of those where I think the bookies kind of look at the situation and go, they're in a relegation scrap, so it could be cagey. Whereas Oldham games are just not like that at the moment. They're just really open games of football as well. And the fact that Oldham are just scoring game on game, and the fact that there's a feel-good situation because Paul Simpson used to belong to Carlisle, and so he's gone back there, and I think they're on their 3rd manager of the season now. So there's just generally a feel-good with both clubs. There'll be a big away contingent at Boundary Park. I know a few Carlisle fans will be at that game. So I think we're going to go for Bristol City, Birmingham, Newport, Bristol Rovers, and Oldham Carlisle, unless you feel otherwise, Benjamin.
That was where I was heading as you were talking. I know we fell over last week on a couple of Championship ones, but you can just, spoiler alert, I've done my predictions already. They haven't been published. You can see Millwall winning 1-0 at Reading or something, like that, can't you? So that just that concerns me somewhat. So I think we're pretty much there. Have you got anything in your back pocket, just off the top of your head, on the long list? I think we normally get 6 or 7 on the long list, don't we? The big money acca.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, I was speaking to you off air about your team, Ipswich Town, and I know it's completely impossible for you to be objective about your own football team as well, because I've done it with Tranmere. You can be pro and against, but you just cannot get a sense of reality with your own football team when you're so emotionally invested. But Ipswich Town, I think, have a fantastic chance of winning the game away to Fleetwood based on the stats, if you like, a very stats-based approach, and eventually, goals will be yielded on the expected goals metric. Like I said, Walsall, I feel, are just moving in the right direction under Mike Flynn.
You're definitely putting that in somewhere. I can feel it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'd like to just throw in a few more, both teams to score. It might be that some of these both teams to score that don't get in on the shortlist, if you like, on the treble, will go in. So we might still throw in a Reading Millwall, a Stoke Blackpool, and a Colchester Port Vale as well. So those are mine. Have you got any pearls of wisdom beyond that?
Just Fleetwood and chaos just worries me. They've had a lot of games where they've been up and there's been late goals and a lot of high scoring games. So if it does go to sensible kind of metrics with Ipswich, you'd think Ipswich probably win 1-0 or something thereabouts. But you wouldn't write off Ipswich going 2-0 up and Fleetwood scoring twice in the last 10 minutes. That's been the sort of chaotic nature of their games. But yeah, as you say, objectivity and the team you support. Notice we don't ever see Tranmere cropping up on these, do we?
Tranmere will never be in a both teams to score. Yes, but if you look at their stats this season, well, I am going to the Sixfield Stadium, and I'm feeling as though it's going to be a very tight game between two sort of teams who are not in great form at the moment. And if we can grind out a 1-0 win, then I'll be jubilant. You'll see me seeing me in the crowd, sort of bouncing around. So it'll be a fantastic.
Next to Mike Dean, yes.
Yeah, I've seen him regularly at the games. Yeah, he's a good lad.
Right. Final plugs then ahead of the weekend, Matthew. What do people need to do? And can you plug your Twitter as well? Because I don't think we've done it on the pod thus far, have we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's at WhatAcca.com is the Twitter handle for there as well, and that will be a good place for you to follow our latest tips and advice. But yeah, just head over to WhatAcca.com. You should get a pop-up if you're a first-time visitor anyway, where you can sign up for the emails. Click on the Acca tips to see the latest ones that are available. We will always have a daily accumulator tip. We'll always have a daily both teams to score Acca, and then obviously Saturday and Sunday, lots going on. And then next week we've got stacks of Football League action, Champions League, Europa League. There's even Premier League next Thursday as well. So there's so much happening at the moment in the football world. The season is really it's well and truly hitting the business end of the season. So yeah, just head over to the site and you'll see lots of opportunities to check out the bets, and hopefully we'll give you a few winners during March like we did in February.
WhatAcca.com, get involved there, absolutely free. Go and sign up, and we'll be following everything on the Saturday Super Stream. I think he's going to be at Sixfields this week, but we did see an appearance from Matthew in the Super Stream, so you can chew the fat with him in the chat over on the Super Stream at some point. And what's your Twitter, Matthew?
Oh, it's Matthew_Glazier as well. If you want to tweet or see my latest tweets as well. I'm also doing a video outside the Sixfields Stadium after the game for a channel or what have you as well at that. But I'll fill you in on that next week if it makes an appearance.
Yeah, fantastic. So there we go. That is the Saturday shortlist for another week. Subject to change as ever. We may get some news today that might affect any picks, but in the main, those are our thoughts. Why don't you get your thoughts in via the comments down there and let us know your ideas for any Accas, both teams to scores, the win Acca with 3 picks as well, and your big long one if you want to give away your tips as well. Get involved in the comments. Head over to WhatAcca.com. Come and join me for the Saturday Super Stream at 2:30 on the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, and we will see you next week with no more balloons, Matthew.
Maybe not. They might still be here. Who knows?
They'll collapse. They'll be about a foot lower, won't they? There you go. Right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.